منيرا وهو الذي جعل الليل والنهار خلفة لمن أراد أن يذكر أو أراد شكورا وعباد الرحمن الذين يمشون على الأرض هونا وإذا خاطبهم الجاهلون قالوا سلاما والذين يبيتون لربهم سجدا وقياما والذين يقولون ربنا اصرف عنا عذاب جهنم إن عذابها كان غراما إنها ساءت مستقرا ومقاما والذين إذا أنفقوا لم يسرفوا ولم يقتروا وكان بين ذلك قواما والذين لا يدعون مع الله إلها آخر ولا يقتلون النفس التي حرم الله إلا بالحق ولا يزنون ومن يفعل ذلك يلقى أثاما يضاعف له العذاب يوم القيامة ويخلد فيه مهانا إلا من تاب وآمن وعمل عملا صالحا فأولئك يبدل الله سيئاتهم حسنات وكان الله غفورا رحيما ومن تاب وعمل صالحا فإنه يتوب إلى الله متابا والذين لا يشهدون الزور وإذا مروا باللغو مروا كراما والذين إذا ذكروا بآيات ربهم لم يخروا عليها صما وعميانا والذين يقولون ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما أولئك يجزون الغرفة بما صبروا ويلقون فيها تحية وسلاما خالدين فيها حسنت مستقرا ومقاما قل ما يعبأ بكم ربي لولا دعاؤكم فقد كذبتم فسوف يكون لزاما صدق الله العظيم.
Takbir! That was beautiful, Imam Ali. Thank you so much. Jazakallah khair. Again, welcome to our third annual youth conference of Dar Al-Hijrah Islamic Center. May Allah SWT reward you and bless you for your time that you're coming through and supporting this cause. I just want to go ahead and run through the schedule, inshallah. Between now and about a few more minutes, we have Sister Aisha Prime, who will be our first Prime speaker. You guys gotta get this from me all night, so get used to it. Inshallah, I now have Maghrib prayer. That's when we talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala often. And we're gonna make it our way to the courtyard and sisters in the back and the other side. If this is your first time here, for the brothers, the bathrooms are all on the outside, in the front entrance, and the sisters' bathrooms on the other side, inshallah. And we'll have dinner. We ordered some halal chicken. It's 100% halal, no doubt about it. I checked. I've spoken to the chicken itself too. And then we'll have Sheikh Abu Bakr coming from California will be speaking. And we'll have Isha prayer, we're going to talk to God again. We'll have Isha Salah. We'll come back with Sister Yasmin al-Hadi, and then with the Naeem Beg, and with the Aliyah Tamimi, inshallah. Alright, so with that, I'd just like to start with the introduction video we have for our youth department we made. Inshallah, you'll enjoy the video and see what we do here. We're good people. Alright, let's play the video. Brother Amin, can we play the video? Our new operation manager. So this video will be just going over some of the things we have been doing for the last few years, alhamdulillah. Alright, also in the camp, some of you guys have all the schedule. Inside the schedule you'll find a flyer called Fast and Learn. If you flip the Fast and Learn flyer, you'll see us in social media. We also have a Snapchat filter for this program specifically made. And I just want to take that moment while he's getting the video ready. I want to appreciate the volunteers and the staff that have put transformed this courtyard into this beautiful place for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that when angels come visit us right now as we talk about Allah, they're wowed about it. And that way you guys are also wowed about it. So I just want to take a few minutes to recognize our volunteers and appreciate them. Can we just get a... We also have our board members from Dar Al-Hijrah Islamic Center who's constantly visiting us and asking us, what can I do for the youth? So we have stepped up and they have stepped up and we're doing things together to make this place great again. We also have from Penny Appeal, the CEO, who's here to checking out the youth program, inshallah. If you guys did a job, it's the time. They're not happy right now. Just throw the video. All right.
يا الله يا رحمن حقق آمالينا وفقنا في كل آن فيما سعينا يا الله يا منان وفقنا في كل آن فيما سعينا
Congratulations to Safa for putting that video together. All right, we'll go ahead and start with our first speaker, Sister Aisha Prime. So I researched you, Sister Aisha Prime, and when I was Googling you, and I found a picture of you and one of the top speakers, from Nation of Islam, the founder. What's his name? Mr. Louis Farrakhan. I got scared. No, I'm kidding. Come on through. All right, Sister Aisha Prime, inshallah, with our first.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I should clarify that what he just said. Not that I am one of the top speakers of the Nation of Islam, but that there is a movement currently, basically, when Minister Farrakhan actually asked a group of Muslims to teach them Aqidah, and I was invited to be one of the teachers of that. So I should clarify that, lest you really be afraid. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. First, I'd like to really thank the organizers for inviting me here to speak. It is an honor. Anytime, of course, we get to be in a blessed gathering, in a blessed place amongst blessed people. So I really, truly thank you for this opportunity. I'm, mashallah, honored to be in your presence, particularly amongst the youth conference. First and foremost, before we start anything, alhamdulillah, shukrillah, we heard that beautiful recitation of Quran and that wonderful video kind of just getting us all charged up for the work that they've done. So now as we're sitting here, I want to make sure that we have the highest and the best of intentions for why we're here, so that we get the best and the most benefit out of our time. So of course we're here by the intention to expose ourselves to the mercy of Allah. We're here by the intention to expose our minds to beneficial knowledge that will be a means by which our hearts are expanded and our souls are transformed. We're here by the intention to enjoin the good and to forbid the evil. We're here by the intention that we can stand firm upon Sirat al-Mustaqim. We're here by the intention that we can obey the commandments in the Quran to seek knowledge. We're here by the intention to hold fast to the rope of Allah. We're here by the intention to give purpose and benefit to our life so that we can be saved from the torment of the grave and the punishment of the hellfire. We're here by the intention that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will look upon us with His mercy, with His kindness, with His generosity, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give us knowledge that will mold and shape us into excellent Muslims, excellent mu'minat, excellent, not just excellent believers, but excellent people who do great deeds of excellence. We're here by the intention that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remove from us every darkness and every sin, and that He will replace it with knowledge and light and with goodness. We're here by the intention that Allah will eradicate in us every evil and replace it with goodness. We're here by the intention that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will number us amongst those whom He loves, whom He has favored, because we've held tight to the masjid and we've held tight to the majlis of Allah. We're here by the intention that Allah will accept this deed from us, and that He will make it a means by which we stand in front of Him without hisab, and that we're granted Jannatul Firdaus al-A'la. We're here by the intention that the Prophet ﷺ will say that we were from amongst His ummah. We're here by the intention that us and our entire lineage will be saved from the torment of the grave and the punishment of the hellfire, and that our entire lineage will be listed amongst those who were truly Muslim. Allahumma ameen. So I want to talk about the title of this conference, of this Dar Al-Hijrah Youth Conference, is Spirituality in Context. And so when we talk about something as lofty as spirituality, and then say, I want to put it into context, many times this gets a bit confusing, especially when we use English terms as spirituality, because spirituality seems kind of vast. It's like particles of dust in the air, and you can't exactly catch it, but you know it's there. And so what does this mean when we as Muslims talk about spirituality? Because we hear, yes, Buddhists talk a lot about spirituality, right? We hear a lot about New Age people who say we don't have religion. They talk about spirituality. So what is it to have spirituality inside of Islam? Well, I'm going to talk about basically two extremes, or three extremes. One of them is that spirituality is hocus pocus, right? That spirituality, for the most part, ain't nobody got time for that. that we're dealing with some hardcore, concrete things that are happening in the world, from Palestine to Chicago, and we don't have time for spirituality. We need some hardcore brass tacks about what we're going to do. Right? We need some concrete. I need some hardcore answers. I don't need spirituality. That's all. I don't need my head in the clouds. I need us to deal with what's right here, right now. Right? That's one aspect of the understanding. And then there's another aspect of it. So I would actually call that the skeptic. I'm going to name that concept the skeptic. The one who says that spirituality, that's not for us. Right? Then there's another one who's the idealist. Right? And the idealist is basically like he's casted out the world, and he says completely give up dunya. I have nothing to do with this world. We just need to focus on the raising of my spirituality, and everything will be okay. Right? And then you've got the rebel. And the rebel is the one who's like, I'm going to use my spirituality to be a mujahid, to be a force against all the evil in the world. They're like, it's no matter what anybody says, I don't care. I'm going to use all of my spirituality to focus on this goal. Well, here's the problem. When you talk about the skeptic, I'm going to go down each one of them. When we talk about the skeptic, I have to remind us of the hadith of Jibreel alayhi salam. When Jibreel, we're very familiar, most of us should be familiar with the hadith where Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu ta'ala narrates that he was in the halaqah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and there appeared a man who was extremely beautiful. His clothes were extremely white, his hair was extremely black, and he had no signs of travel. I'm not going to go through all of it. I'm just going to address three important things. He said, what is Islam? And he gave him the 5 pillars, right? And he said, what is Iman? And he gave him the 6 articles of faith. And then he said, what is Ihsan? And he said, Ihsan is to worship Allah, seeing Him though you see Him not, but know that He sees you. Right? This is extremely important. But what's even more important is what happens at the very end of this hadith. So at the end of the hadith, and I'm skipping past most of it, at the end of the hadith, the man gets up and he walks away, and the Prophet ﷺ orders Umar, go after him. And Umar goes after him, and he comes back to the Prophet and he said, Ya Rasulullah, it's as if he's vanished. And he said, do you know who that was? He said, Allah and His Messenger know best. He said, this is Jibreel coming to teach you your deen. This last little phrase is something so significant. When he says he comes to teach you your deen, meaning that everything that he taught you, those answers to those questions, what is Islam, what is Iman, what is Ihsan, this compiles your deen, your debt that you owe to Allah Ta'ala. So if you've been practicing Islam, you've only been practicing the body of Islam. If you've been practicing, you've only practiced the physical aspect of it. If you said the Shahada, you've been praying your 5 times a day, you've been fasting in Ramadan, you've made your Hajj, you paid your Zakat, you're only practicing the body aspect. But see, Allah Ta'ala created us mind, body, and soul. So then He says, what is Iman? And He goes through these things of what you must believe. Meaning that in order for those bodily actions to count, you actually have to have your mind right. You actually have to have the correct thinking. But the interesting thing about the aql, right, is that the seat of the intellect lies in the heart. So that your level, what you understand about Allah and His angels and the prophets and the books and the Day of Judgment and Qadr is only going to be perceived based on the condition of your soul. It's only going to make sense. You're only going to arrive at the highest understanding based on the condition of your soul. So that when you're making salat and you realize, well, I believe in Allah, that's why I'm actually making salat. But then you've got all of these distractions. You're going through your homework list, you're going through the grocery list, what my friends are doing after this, how quickly can I pray because they're about to leave me, I'm about to be left out, the club is jumping, I gotta go. Let me make this salat real fast because my mom told me I gotta go. Right? But what's lacking is the spiritual connection. Are you worshiping Allah, seeing Him though you see Him not? So for the skeptic, spirituality is not an option. It's not an option. It's actually a part of our deen. And when we talk about the idealist, the flip side is the case. Many people choose to be spiritual. I'm gonna call you out for a minute. Don't be mad at me. Right? Don't be mad. Many people choose to be spiritual because they're lazy. Because we lack discipline to actually want to do what it takes in order to gain true spirituality. It's because, and there's an arrogance attached to it. Like, you know what? Allah knows my heart. I really believe in Allah. I really don't need these physical practices. They need the salat. They need all those bodily things because they haven't got what I've got inside my heart. Right? And so they believe in kind of like this magic making type deen. Like they woke up with a whole bunch of like spirituality, and they woke up with it without actually having to do the work. They want a shortcut, right? I want like an easy path, and they really believe that that's going to work. But the problem is that when that emotional feeling runs out, and then they're left disappointed that they didn't get the miracles they were looking for, that the magic that they thought they could create, then they're burnt out and they've left the deep, put Islam on the shelf. I'll get back to that maybe like after college, maybe when I get married or when my kids, it's time to send to my Islamic school or something. I'll get back to that later. Right? So that's the idealist. And the rebel, he's just using it actually to rebel against his family, to say I'm something different. I've cast out the world, to say that I've given up this dunya. He's trying to like seeking rebellion by being special, thinking he's different. But this is actually no different than shaitan. Because he was praying, he was worshiping, he was making dhikr of Allah. Right? He looked very spiritual, but in reality he was arrogant. Right? Then there's another extreme. There's the I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. Right? I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious. And this goes back to what we talked about before, and the fact that really, when you say you're spiritual but not religious, meaning I have all the mind part of it, but I don't, all those physical actions and making salat and reading Quran, I don't really need that, right? And this is actually, it goes back to the verse in the Quran in Al-Imran in 331, where Allah says, if you say you love Allah, then follow me. He commends the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, meaning he's calling you out. Meaning you claim you love Allah. That's what you say. That's what your mouth says. But when it's time to put the test to it, when you say you love Allah, can you meet these obligations, not just 5 times a day, with your sunnah? Can you put the rubber to the road? Because see, we're not the people who say, true Muslims, true believers aren't people who say, I'm spiritual but I'm not religious. Because true believers understand the only path to spirituality is through religiosity. It's simple. It's not like you're going to wake up one day not having done the work and you're going to be a master in psychology or a master mathematician or a master anything, a master engineer, an excellent lawyer. So how come we play this game with Allah? Thinking that, I just gotta be who I am, and the way I think is spiritual enough. And so this is about we're self-deluded. Because if we really love Allah, we're not only making those our fard prayers, we're doing the sunnah, we're working so meticulously to follow the path, to make sure that our soul doesn't fall into despair, to make sure that our soul doesn't fall by the wayside. Right? That's true spirituality. So I want to tell you, how do we solve this issue? Number one, you have to play it how it goes. What do you mean play it how it goes? You tree is not about to say, you know what, I don't want to be a tree, I want to be a bird. Right? So you're thinking, I'm at level 2 in my deen, really? Like I'm really just barely making the 5, or not at all. Maybe I'm just making like, because I miss Fajr most of the time because I'm sleeping. Or I can actually make Fajr on time when I've got class, right? Or when I've got work, then I can make Fajr on time. But so when you have to do it because there's an external obligation, or because you're not gonna get a good grade, you're gonna get kicked out of your class, your pay is gonna be docked. When there's somebody physically there to check you, you can make it on time. But if it's just Allah, I can't. I'm sleeping, I'm snoring. Right? So in this case, when we talk about you're not going that as a believer, you're not going to be at level 2 in your deen and then claim spirituality on level 10. Right? And the proof of that, it comes out. It comes out in our lack of balance. And this is where I really want to get into it, right? There's a reason why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he was our greatest spiritual guide, but at the same time he walked in the marketplace. There's a real reason why it's not like there was a balance between dunya and deen. There's a real reason behind that. See, we can't claim this kind of emotionalism versus spirituality. And what's the difference? What do you mean emotionalism versus spirituality? Emotionalism means, like, is your deen temperamental? What do I mean by is your deen temperamental? Is it moody? Right? Is sometimey? Like, there's some weeks I can pray. I'm praying all night. I'm praying Qiyamul Layl. And next month I can't. I'm not praying Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib, and definitely not Isha because I'm too tired. Right? Or are you're a hijabi when you come to the masjid, but then when you get with your friends at school, you got on tight jeans. Or on Jummah, you're telling your dad, no, I gotta get out of school, for Jummah, I gotta come to Jummah because it's my obligation, but on Saturday night, you at the hookah bar. Right? Or, when you're in the masjid, you're lowering your gaze and you're guarding your modesty, but when you're at school, you hollering at, you're flirting in the hallway. Right? So this is a case of your deen is temperamental because sometimes we claim something that we don't actually have. So this is why we have to get our spirituality into context. Right? You say, well, I don't really need to wear hijab. I don't really need to do. Allah knows my heart. Yes, Allah knows your heart. He knew we were vain. That's why He told us to wear hijab. He knew we were vain. He knew our situation. Right? He knew you had ego. That's why He commanded you to make salat. Bow down, submit, put your face to the floor. Get familiar with this dust right here, where you're going to live for a long time. So all of these lies we tell ourselves, Allah knows my state. Allah knows what I can do. Right? And this is, and many times, even more importantly, with young people, is that Islam becomes our social beverage. What do you mean Islam is our social beverage? Meaning that there are many Muslims, sadly, right, who drink alcohol. And they claim, like, I really love Allah in my heart, and I'm really a good Muslim, but when I'm with them, it's just light, it's fun, it doesn't take from my iman. Allah says, don't drink it so I won't be intoxicated. So, you can't pray when you're intoxicated. That's okay, I drank after Isha. Right? I literally heard, somebody told me that, I'm not kidding. Somebody told me that. I drank after Isha. After all my prayers are done, then I can drink. Right? And we have the flip side of that. We have people who are saying, well, really and truly, I'm actually not in the in crowd. Those people who drink and go to hookah bars, they actually don't like me because I'm really not cool enough for them. So, but these kids who go to the masjid, they like me. So I have a chance with them, so I go hang out with them. Because they go to the masjid, so I go to the masjid. So I have a group, I can hang out. That's my socialization. Those are my friends. Right? So Islam is a trend. It's your social beverage. So what happens when those friends disappear? Or what happens when you're by yourself? for yourself. And in reality, Islam is a decision whether you're 10 or you're 80. Islam is a decision that we make about 50 times a day. Sometimes 100 times a day we make the decision to be Muslim or not Muslim. And the way society is going, you're going to keep making that decision. Not just am I going to make salah, not just am I going to wear hijab, not just am I going to have good company, not just am I going to be like, well, wow, now my friends are going to the club. Not just in that situation. It's going to be about bigger things. Whether or not you'll stand up for yourself. Whether or not you'll stand up for the Muslim who's being bullied. Whether or not you'll stand up for Palestine, whether or not you'll stand up for Black Lives Matter, whether or not you'll stand up for the Ethiopian sister who was murdered by her husband, or whether or not you'll flip it on your phone and keep it going. Islam, submission to Allah and to follow the Prophet ﷺ in reality is a decision we're making 50 times a day. And if we were to ask ourselves, what is the percentage that we're actually successful in obeying the commandments of the Quran and the example of the Prophet ﷺ, I ask us sincerely examine that. What's the percentage of our success? Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barik alayhi. So, and here's another thing. Many times we only worship Allah to the extent of the feel good. This is emotionalism versus spirituality. See, emotionalism will be like if I'm praying in the night and then I've got like this great feeling, like in Ramadan, I'm fasting and I've got this great feeling, then yes, I'll do it. But then there are times when it's like I'm just not feeling it. You know, I'm standing in my prayers and I'm not feeling anything. Or you know what, if Ramadan is over and I'm gonna be hungry, so that's on the what? Monday, Thursday, who? Please, it's not Ramadan, I don't have to fast. I don't have to do it. So in reality, what we're worshiping is not Allah, we're only worshiping that good feeling. We're worshiping the high. Because when the high is gone, so is my deen. So is my qiyam al-layl. So is my recitation of Quran. And many times Allah will remove the good feeling from you. Why? So you can come to Him crawling. Ya Rabbi, see my heart. Ya Rabbi, see how weak I am. Ya Rabbi, see how empty I am. Ya Rabbi, fill me with love for you. Why? Because that's what somebody who's thirsty, they're yearning and they're begging for water. Then they come begging and crying to Allah, Ya Rabbi, give me. But when you're full, I'm good. Right? This is emotionalism versus spirituality keeps going. It sustains. No matter where you are in the emotional part of it, whether you're in your lows or you're in your highs, no matter where you are, you're maintaining the deen and you're still growing and searching. So we've got to get out of an emotional Islam, right? Many times also our spirituality is very selfish. It's just about me. Right? It's just as long as I'm feeling good here in my corner, in my room, right, making my salah, your mom calls you, what? Mom, really now? I'm praying. Your dad calls you, your grandma needs you too. Where is the salam? I'm so sorry. I hope I didn't break it. Where is the true salam? It's just like, this is a good feeling. This is a good moment for me. Right? And despite whatever social problems or social situations are happening outside of my door, oh, I can just shut that out and I'll just pray for them and it'll all be good. And so when you walk out of the door, the world is in the same condition it was before. Because spirituality is actually something we practice. It's not something just in our heart, it's something that's in our bodies, in our souls, in our daily actions. It's not just for us. And it's something we do non-stop and seek to build on. So what does Allah want from me? Many of us ask that question. Like, okay, so all that you said, Sister Aisha, what does Allah want from me? And if he said, because Allah says in the Quran, He only created jinn and men so they could worship me. I mean, He just wants us to worship Him. I mean, He doesn't really need your worship. So you're right, He doesn't. He does not need your little 5 minutes of bumping your head on the ground and you halfway concentrating. You're right, He doesn't need that. So when Allah says He created jinn and men so they could worship, what is this? Because to worship Him is to be connected to Him. To worship Him is to seek happiness. Because literally by making sujood, you are increasing your ability for discernment. Literally by worshiping Allah Ta'ala, you've expanded your heart and your mind for true fulfillment. So out of His mercy, He wants to spread that mercy. Out of His love, He wants to spread you, He wants to give you happiness. So what does Allah want from you? Hayya ala salah, hayya ala al-falah. Right? You're sick, so I want to give you medicine. You're weak, I want to make you strong.
Assalamu alaikum. I heard you volunteer for Adhan. Brothers, can I get somebody for Adhan? Come on in. That's how we do it. We just pick you and tell you.
So just as the adhan reminds us, what does Allah want from us? He wants happiness from you. He wants peace from you. Like what is peace? How are you going to obtain that peace? We've got to get that jihad that's going on between our minds and our hearts. Where my mind is telling me I want to do one thing, or my body is telling me I want to do one thing, but my soul is calling me to something else. See, peace is when the mind, body, and the soul come together in one deen. Right? Peace is when the mind, the body, and the soul come together in one form of submission. But we're not going to do that if we're playing emotion, if we don't have our spirituality in context. We're not going to do that if we actually have emotionalism, but we're claiming spirituality. Well, I have spirituality, but I don't have religiosity. Right? We're just going to keep that conflict inside of us going. So lastly, I want you to know this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He actually wants you to be you. He wants you to be you. Why? Because you can only be you. Everybody else is taken. Right? There are talents, there are gifts, there are skills, there are passions in your heart that your family needs for you to give to them. That this community needs for you to give to them. That the ummah needs for you to give to them. Some of you are extremely talented, whether it be in journalism. Some of you may be talented in terms of debate. Ask your parents. So we need definitely civil rights attorneys. Some of you may be talented in a multitude of ways. You may be artists. You may be poets. You actually, subhanAllah, you may be future architects. You may be future speakers, teachers. And whatever it is inside of you, you may say, I have this calling in my heart for the children in Somalia. I have a calling in my heart. There's something that just keeps me up at night regarding domestic violence. I have a troubling in my heart as it relates to the amount of youth, Muslim youth who are homeless. I have a troubling in my heart for as it relates to the amount of Muslim women who have been raped. There's a passion inside of you that just knocks on your heart, and we need you for that. We need you to speak up for that. We need you to bring your talents and your skills to the table. This is how to bring your spirituality into practice. So that passion just doesn't become something you're writing about in diaries in the quietness of your room, or it doesn't just become something that worries you or something that you're like, oh wow, I wish that would change. It actually has to be something that you bring to the table, that you bring your family's awareness, bring the community's awareness, call us to it, call us to account for it, and make us stand up and do something about it because you recognize its importance. This is what Allah wants from you. This is what spirituality is about. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa barak sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. I want to say this last and I'll close out inshallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inside of you, there's a Jannah already inside you. There is a garden already inside you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has laid a field inside of you. It lies in your thoughts, it lies in your prayers, it's in your heart, as we just discussed. But you've got to water it. You've got to pluck out the weeds. The weeds that are choking, that are literally choking the truth inside you. The vanity, the ego, the machismo, the rebellion, you've got to pluck that out. Because many times I just want to address this really quickly. It happens with sisters and brothers. Many times we're like, and we have to be very careful, even in our spirituality, because sometimes we take this spirituality, we hang out with certain people, and there's some people who want to take it like, oh, I want to be this elite group. Right? So their lack of understanding of spirituality will lead them to a certain arrogance like shaitan. And there are other people that they don't necessarily want the attention of the masses, they just want the attention of a few. And this actually leads them to they're coming to the masjid, they're doing the work, but they're having secret relationships with each other. Why? Oh, because he understands me. Oh, she knows how I think. Oh, she listens to my poetry. Right? She understands my heart. There's nobody else I can talk to except for this one. I promise you, this is not true spirituality. Right? Shaitan is tricking you. And you've got to be careful. Because what is that about? Oh, I want attention. I'm looking for a certain type of love. Right? I'm looking for a certain type of affection. I'm looking for somebody to pay attention to me. Get back to the root of what's inside you and get those weeds out of all the sickness and the disease of your heart and your soul. Pluck that out so your true spirituality can grow. Right? And then when you've got on the straight path and you've got a little bit of a routine, firm up yourself. Make yourself strong. Don't be like a tree in the wind. Right? Well, this is the new trend. Right? No. Stand firm up your deen. Do it with good suhbah, with good people, good companions. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make you forever firm upon sirat al-mustaqim. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us people of truth. Make May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, make us thabit upon this deen. Ya Rabbi, I ask that you fill our hearts with that which you love, that which you have. Ya Rabbi, make us amongst those whom you have favored, whom you've guided, whom you have protected. Ya Rabbi, save us from the torment of the grave and the punishment of the hellfire. Ya Rabbi, make our hearts truly for you. Ya Rabbi, bless us to have true spirituality, Ya Rabbi, and don't let us be tricked by our own ego, our own arrogance. Ya Rabbi, don't let us be tricked by shaitan, Ya Allah. Ya Rabbi, I ask that you make us truly Muslim. Ya Rabbi, make our family and our lineage truly Muslim. Ya Rabbi, bless our families, Ya Rabbi, to stay together. Wherever the parents and the children, Ya Rabbi, are falling out, Ya Rabbi, make them close to each other. Give them understanding and acceptance, Ya Allah. Ya Rabbi, wherever our youth, Ya Rabbi, have fallen into haram relationships, Ya Rabbi, bless them to get out. Make them strong, Ya Allah, by which they love you, Ya Allah. They replace that love for others with love for you, Ya Allah. Ya Rabbi, wherever our youth are addicted to any substance, Ya Allah, come between them in this addiction, Ya Allah. Ya Rabbi, I ask that you bless them to be filled with the Quran, with the light of this Quran. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Mawlana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Afwan minkum. Assalamu alaikum.
Takbir! 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 Jazakumullah khairan, Sister Aisha. Thank you so much for this. We have 3 more minutes before Salah starts. I ask everyone, please come back in the same sitting positions because your dinner is not ready. Apparently the chicken is running away. So inshallah, it will happen. But please, right now, make your way to the Salah. For the brothers this way, for the sisters to that entrance. Assalamu alaikum. Please come back after the Salah.
Go.
I know Sister Aisha dropped it, but please.